The circular nature of the business is important because there's a whole lot of external drivers that we need to focus on. We as farmers can't farm and run our business in isolation anymore. There's demands from our consumer to do things really well, and it's not difficult. It meets our criteria as well and our objectives. Have healthy, fit animals that are productive, have a healthy, fit environment that supports agriculture and farming and red meat production.
Murdeduke Ag's a diverse enterprise operation that all complement each other, consisting of broadacre cropping, prime lambs and stud Angus cattle.
It starts with the soil fertility and building soil fertility. Once we did that and we started to see great improvements in that, then we could use the appropriate pasture species and crop species to work on building our feed base, which is critical to livestock production, is having plenty of grass to feed our animals properly so we can turn them off, have really good reproductive rate, meet market specifications. With climate change, we're seeing a lot of different rainfall events, and in the past, in our traditional system, we used to waste those rainfall events. So we now look in a 3-monthly cycle as what's the opportunity, what's the stress that's in front of us, and how do we combat that. The old system of just looking at a calendar year and planning is sort of out the window. We are a mixed farm. Having a range of enterprises allows us to capture the opportunities that present themselves. From our cropping enterprise, we generate a lot of biomass in our stubbles. So we use that, we put that back through the piggery. That's a really good building block for soil fertility. Grow more grass, turn animals off quickly, and that's key to our reducing our carbon footprint. So we've geared our pasture selection and crop selection to utilise that, and whether it be a wheat species or a cereal species that we can graze and respond, we can get it in early, get it up out of the ground and graze it over the winter, or whether it may be something like soybeans. We grew soybeans for the first time last year, and the thought behind that was a high quality feed in the end of autumn when we've got basically no feed at all, but also a nitrogen source for the following crop. We've changed to some deep-rooted perennials. Holdfast phalaris we're having great success with that. Good staff is another critical part of the business. Having people that are like-minded, are interested and are happy to go those extra yards, that's also really critical. The opportunity arose to produce prime lambs, so we moved to a first cross operation. That didn't quite meet our requirements, so Lachie moved to a composite breed and multiple births, high productivity. The downside to that was the lack of wool. So in recent years, Lachie's moved towards adding merinos back into the system, plain-bodied, mulesing-free, just to complement and value add to an already successful part of the business. When I first came here 25 years ago, there were some real challenges. We're in volcanic country, so there was lots of rocks. Fertility was somewhat low. Through the cropping program, we built fertility and moved rocks. Pasture renovation became much easier. It opened the door to being more productive with the livestock system. We've matched our reproductive rates. We lamb in spring and calve in spring to match that peak feed production time with the peak demand. The cattle side of the operation taught us a lot about genetics. We measure all the calves' weights, 200, 400, 600 day birth weight. So we've got a really good handle on growth rates, and that taught us the value of really good genetics.
Probably over a 10 or 15 year period, essentially doubled our winter stocking rate by adding the grain and graze system, improved pastures. We didn't used to be able to handle the spring flush, like we'd have to shut paddocks up and cut them, which fodder and things, and I guess containment feeding's the other thing that's made that work, so you get the animal performance you're meant to get. Got to admit, in a wet winter this year I was pretty worried that we'd pushed a little bit too hard, but now that it's warmed up and we've kept getting rain in spring, and the ability of the animals to put on weight in late winter, early spring is just phenomenal, and particularly the cattle, it's just critical to get that cow condition back up, and the cows on a rising plane coming into joining to achieve that calf a cow per year, which is absolutely critical profit driver in beef production system. We have to set stock through lambing. There's solid research there that suggests that you'll get better lambing percentages and things with smaller mobs and less mismothering. We really struggle with paddock size. Probably the smaller the paddocks, the more efficient and better pasture utilisation you'll get. But for cropping reasons and machinery efficiency, and do have some bigger paddocks, but we use temporary hot wires a lot to try and overcome those challenges.
The game changer has been some of the tools that we've got available now, and their containment areas. We can now feed and lock up animals in the autumn when a feed source is low in the paddocks, and then the grain and graze principles of grazing crops has made a huge difference to the productivity of this farm. We're no longer wasting a resource in the middle of the winter when pasture supply is low. We can now graze our crops, have limited impact on our grain yield. We've got enough animals to graze the spring flush properly, so there's little waste in the system now.